हेलो फ्रेंड्स, केजी क्लासेस में आपका स्वागत है। आज हम आपको जॉन कीट्स के शॉर्ट आंसर के बारे में बताएंगे। क्वेश्चन: डिस्कस द थीम एंड एटमॉस्फेयर ऑफ द पोएम द ईव ऑफ एस.टी. एग्निस। आंसर: द ईव ऑफ एस.टी. एग्निस was written in January 1819 and revised in September. Though it assumes the form of a narrative, it is hardly a narrative. Rather, it is a monody of dreamy richness, a picturesque presentment of a mood and sentiment. The poem was written when the possibility of Keats' reunion with Fanny had considerably increased. He had written to her that he loved her deeply. She, in return, had conveyed to him that she too loved him deeply. The theme of the poem is love. The poem is based on the medieval superstition connected with the eve of St. Agnes, which falls on 20 January, that a young maiden who has properly fasted and prayed would have vision at midnight of her absent lover. Accordingly, Madeleine keeps the fast, pray, and goes to bed. Her lover Porphyro, prevented from meeting her in daylight by the hostility of their parents, stealthily enters her bedroom and elopes with her. In dealing with the theme, Keats has grandeur, adventure, chivalry, and romance. The poem is in the form of a long narrative in which the poet has packed many beautiful ideas. The poem deals with the genuine passion of Porphyro and Madeline. They and what belongs to them are described in rich natural terms, usually those of crimson and rose. Suddenly a thought came like a full-blown rose. The stained glass of Madeline's casement is colored like the wings of the tiger moth, and its emblazoningly blues with the blood of queens and kings. Next question is: what were the sources of the eve of St. Agnes? Answer: the chief sources of the poem is the medieval legend of St. Agnes. The story derived from a romance of the Italian writer Boccaccio reminds one of the situation in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Its central scene recalls with a difference the bed chamber scene in Shakespeare's Cymbeline, which it also consciously or unconsciously echoes more than once. St. Agnes was a Roman girl who suffered martyrdom for her Christian faith. She was canonized on the 21st of January 304 AD. St. Agnes came afterwards to be regarded as the patron saint of virgins. The 21st of January is observed as the St. Agnes Day, while the 20th January is the eve of St. Agnes. In addition to the folk tale, Keats seems to have got ideas from Brand's popular antiquities, Barton's Anatomy of Melancholy, and Ben Jonson's satire. The idea of the feast in the poem seems to have been derived from the Arabian Nights entertainments and Gothic castle from Mrs. Anne Radcliffe's romances. One only guesses his adventures with Fanny Brown, but there is a knowledge of actual circumstances from which he was not distant angel, the frozen field, and the Christmas festivity at steed. His medieval surroundings at Chichester, the remote quiet of Bathampton, and yet these outward circumstances of warmth and cold, youth and age, sound and silence, all counterpointed against each other. These outward circumstances project the emotion he felt at the unexpected birth of new love in his time of sorrow of Tom's death. Next question is, what were the occasions and sources of the poem Ode on a Grecian Urn? Answer है, the Ode on a Grecian Urn was written in the spring of 1918. It could not have been inspired by any single urn because no unknown urn of antiquity portrays both a bacchanalism procession, a scene of dancing, singing, and merrymaking, and a pastoral sacrifice. Keats must give imagined to the urn he describes by a mental combination of subjects derived from different urns. Because suggests that the inspiration for this ode must have been partly derived from the marble urn belonging to Lord Holland and still preserved at his residence. This urn has carved on it the scene of a pastoral sacrifice in outline, and of course no subject is commoner in Greek sculpture than a Bacchanalian procession. Keats combines both these scenes on the imaginary urn described by him in the ode. The poem was also recited by Keats in course of a walk with Haydn through the Kilburn meadows in a deep and thrilling chant. It was published in January 1820. The poem developed from many sources. The first was the poet's vision of a Greek vase having some figures engraved on it. This urn, said to be Lord Holland's urn, represents the sense of a sacrifice. An altar bearing fruits is carved in the midst. Nearby stands a priest, and above is a figure playing on a pipe. Other details recalling Keats' conception are two trees and a bull that is brought to be slain. But the poem was a result of Keats' very long contemplation from the time when he wrote, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." His love of Greek art, his sense of the nearness of pain and pleasure, of the contrast between the stormy nature of the passions and the severity of the ideal, of the charm of the old pagan worship, all are blended here by intense meditation on a thing of beauty. Keats rises to the inspired affirmation of the last two lines. Next question is, discuss the subject and theme of the poem Ode on a Grecian Urn. Answer. The theme of the ode, of course, is the human and the mutable on the one hand, the immortal and essential on the other. A first sight, Keats' theme in the Ode to a Nightingale and Ode on a Grecian Urn cannot be distinguished. The theme in both is the belief that whereas the brief experience of beauty is fleeting, the embodiment of the same experiences in art, marble, or song is a source of joy, and it never perishes. Thus, this ode, also like his other odes, is a hymn of triumph. To some extent, the solace of romance is exchanged for the solace of art in the ode on a Grecian Urn. Human life and happiness may be brief, yet art may enshrine them with an ideal beauty that outlives the years, the figures and all they symbolized are gone, but art has given them a lasting durability and so links the ages together. The Grecian urn is the happiest stock of invention, the sudden and surprising detachment of beauty from the flow of time and change. In the words of Sidney Colvin, the main theme of the poem is the vital difference between life, which pays for its unique prerogative of reality by sanctity and decay, and art, which is forfeiting reality, gains in exchange permanence of beauty and the power to charm by imagined experience even richer than the real. From the drowse and intoxication of the senses, the poet rises to a glorious, clean-eyed apprehension of the spiritual eternity which art, with its unheard melodies, affords. The three consummates central stanza have themselves the impassioned serenity of great sculpture. Only less noble are the splendid imagery of the opening and the immortal paradox of the close. Objective type question. Question: John Keats belonged to? Answer: 19th century. Question: Name of Keats' father was? Answer: Thomas Keats. Question: Keats was born in? Answer: 1795. Question: Keats died on February 23 in? Answer: 1821. Question: Keats Museum was opened in? Answer: 1931. Question: The house where Keats died was declared as Keats Shelley Memorial in? Answer: 1909. Question: I cannot name an English poem of the same length which contain so much beauty as this ode. Who said? Answer: Robert Bridge. Question: It is essentially appropriate that Keats choose sight as his object of worship, because for him the best means of approaching the immortal world was through the use of most active ingredient of the human soul, the imagination. Who said? Answer: L.M. Jones. Question: In this unparalleled description of a richly beautiful autumn day, he conveys to us all the peace and comfort which his spirit receives. Who said? Answer: M.R. Hills. Question: Whose companionship proved faithful at school and afterwards? Answer: Clark's, Clarkes. Question: Beside Leigh Hunt, who came Keats' great friend and built a special influences upon him? Answer: Haydn. Question: Concentrates his power upon a dramatic presentation of the antagonism between reason and emotion. Who said? Answer: E.D. Salen Coates. Thanks. Best of luck.